tell the story of plowing in my time, and my time has been quite a long time. To show a story of plowing, I needed to show some furrows because I wanted to say something about high cut plowing, which most of you here don't even know anything about. But I'll come to that later. But with general plowing, I joined the Army in 1942. Joined the Army in 1942, and in July the 10th, 1943, found us on the east side of the island of Sicily, ready to invade Sicily with the British 8th Army, of which the 1st Canadian Division was a part. And being part of the 8th Army, they considered everybody that wasn't born in the British Isles was a colonial, even though Canada had been a dominion for a number of years. But anyway, being a colonial, you're the next thing to being a hillbilly. And as such, we were assigned to if you have a 9 mountains, start in the Alps and go right down through the middle of Italy and Sicily and out through to Malta. And we were assigned to the hills, along with the Australia and New Zealand, or the Gurkhas and so on. And I was amazed when I got up in those hills among those peasants as to how backward they were compared to us. At least 100 years back of what we are. And the first people I saw, it was women. Women did most of the work. With a group of women, and you've probably seen them in pictures of Ethiopia and so on, swinging one of these tools, which is a mallet that predated the plow, as far as I'm concerned. And they were chanting and swinging those things, and that to me was the start of plowing. I should say before this that when I got thinking about the furrows, I decided I didn't have anything much in the house anymore that showed furrows. And I got a Winston Gibb very kindly came over and brought this book, which is the history of plowing. And it says that their early ages had plows before they had any other tool of husbandry. They could learn to harness their oxen and cows and whatever and pull plows. And this went back in early times. So I was amazed when I got up in the mountains in Sicily to find that they were still in that situation. The first guy I saw plowing had a plow similar to that wooden plow out there with a potato bottom on it. It didn't have a potato bottom, it had just a plain share, but it was a wooden plow. And he was plowing, you wouldn't believe some of the hills that they worked on over there. It would be approximately 45-degree hill, and he had a mule on that wooden plow, and he went up the hill empty and plowed down, about 8-inch furrow, and got up and plowed down. And through the middle of the day, it was 110 in the shade, so he just couldn't work. So I estimated that he wouldn't do any more than a third of an acre a day while he was working there, which was pretty slow going. And I want to leave that there, just to remember that part, when I'm going to go back to the high cut plowing. There's a high cut. I have a high cut plow out there, and the high cut plow, I had the previous conception of what the idea was, but I saw it spelled out. My oldest son David printed this off 14 pages four pages from the United Kingdom, having to do with plowing and high cut plowing. And the idea was that the high cut plow put up the furrows like an inverted V or a W, very sharp furrows tied together, and they were only about 7 inches apart. If you look at that high cut plow there, it's a very narrow point on it. And they were very tight furrows, very sharp. And the idea was that this early settlers plowed that way, and then they took their bag of oats on their shoulder and went out and broadcast the oats and harrowed it, or used a tree branch or something to knock the tops off the furrows into the hollows, and the crop of oats were sown. This is verified in this book that Winston gave me, and I was happy to get that. Anyway, I'm going to go back now to the high cut plowing. Duncan McMillan, a Scotch chap, lived halfway between Highway 23 and Stava on the left side of the road in a hollow up there. He had a 50-acre farm. And he plowed, when I started plowing at plowing matches in the mid-30s, he was plowing in a high cut class. There was a class for high cut. And he was about the only one in it, but he plowed high cut. And I say that, I found out that was the reason for high cut. I'm going to go back now to where I was about I saw this guy plowing with this wooden plow, and then through the years I have plowed with a regular walking plow is called a joiner plow, and he plows 9 inches wide and 6 inches deep. And if the judge threw his yardstick on your plowing and it didn't measure 4 furrows, didn't measure a yard, you could be ruled right out. You just spent your time for nothing. So a joiner plowing had to be 9 inches wide and 6 inches deep. So we did a lot of plowing that way. Well then, as time progressed, my son Dennis, who is here, started doing what they call no-till. He didn't plow, and he, somewhere between 10 and 20 years ago, he quit plowing altogether, and I watched what he was doing, and he seemed to be getting along not bad, so he had a college education. So I started, and we haven't plowed on our farms in the last 10 years. And Terry Lelis now rents the farm, but Dennis and Marion had wheat there this summer, and when they took the wheat off in July, Terry came in later and sowed oats on that wheat field, wheat stubble, and those oats were about 30 inches high and headed out. And he pulled in there in the middle of November with an implement was 24 feet wide and a 160 horse tractor with satellite imaging on it. I'm just saying about progress in my time. And he pulled in there, and 2 hours later, he had incorporated that oat ground, oat stall, with about 3 inches of soil, and it was all chopped up and incorporated with the soil. 20-acre field. 2 hours after he pulled in, he pulled out, and he had been over the field twice. Now, I almost wonder where we're heading, how much we can. In my lifetime, I've gone from when they used a mattock, and that mattock, by the way, my ancestors farmed the William Dow branch farmed in Hibbert 160 years ago, and I'm the fourth. My first name is William. I'm the fourth generation of William Dow's from that farm, and this mattock. I was looking for a mattock to demonstrate how the women did the work, and Alvin and Joyce Dow live on that farm, and they come up with this mattock, but it stems back to, I guess, the origins of the Dows. And the museum was also brought one here. I think Winston's going to maybe say something with it later on. Pardon? Yeah. That is the story of, I say we've gone right from the mattock up through the plows, and now we've phased out the plows, and we're using other machinery, and I don't know where we go from here. Thank you very much.
The next plow match I remember, I wasn't there, but that was Hurricane Hazel. And where we lived, we got about 11 inches of rain. And if I go back, my dad at the Plowing Mexico had a brand new Farmall Super H. And he took his tractor plow down, and the guy from Great Britain plowed with